I'm the Executive Director of Educational Equity Alliance. Aja is the Assistant Executive Director of Coatesville Kids to College, which is really what we're going to talk about today. I'm also, for this time being, the Interim Executive Director of Coatesville Kids to College. Now that probably confuses you, but the founding Executive Director of Coatesville Kids to College resigned about a year ago, and in the financial condition of that program, I needed to step in so we could financially remain tenable. My goal is not to stay as interim. Part of our plan is to get me back out of that role so that I could just return back to one job in my life and not multiple hats. So I'm going to do real quick, Educational Equity Alliance, just so we have an understanding of CKC, Coatesville Kids to College. We do a few things, educational, social, emotional, spiritual empowerment on the left here. We have 3 educational programs that in total serve about 1,300 students regularly and their families. The one local here is Coatesville Kids to College under Umbrella, which functions very much like a nonprofit in itself. And then 2 in Liberia and 1 in Zambia, all led by folks from those areas. Secondly, we do workforce development. We started training years ago here in Coatesville, learning how much need for youth there was for workforce development training. And instead of just doing that training, we started a soap making business just about 3 blocks from here, where youth are learning how to make soap. In our manufacturing shop, we put an online store and started Soap for Hope fundraising. Right before I came here, I was at Scott Middle School dropping off their fundraising results, all the supplies left for there for the students that did fundraising. So Soap for Hope fundraising is a youth, we created a 20-week youth entrepreneurial and workforce development curriculum. And then we began to, just this past year, start to franchise. So we set up partnership with The Point. You're going to notice partnerships today, I think, across the board. Just last year, started over at The Point where they began to run the 20-week workforce development, and some of their kids started also learning how to make the soap products there. This summer, we're moving down into southern Chester County with the Lighthouse and the Garage. They're going to start piloting the program as well down there. And then thirdly, just professional and youth development, helping educational and youth organizations cultivate a culture of access and belonging. So we offer coaching, consulting, workshops, seminars in these areas of educational inequity and ways to advance educational equity. So I would just say, at a base level, why we exist is because of our opinion, from our perspective, and I think there's a lot of data that shows this, we live in a very oppressive world and environment for certain people that don't look like me. We work day after day primarily with Black and brown students locally who are not being provided. Dwayne ended on this insinuation of we all had different opportunities with similar gifts and skill sets oftentimes. And what we found is the students we work with are facing injustice and inequity at systemic, institutional, and interpersonal levels every day, that despite best efforts, they're needing additional resources and rigor to help close those gaps to achieve things that I may have achieved a little more easily. So we do trainings in those areas and help people to understand different pathways towards success in educational models. So I'm going to hand it over to Aja. She's going to talk more about CKC and we'll go back and forth.
First, I want to say that it's been really great to hear about the diverse ways that we're all supporting this community. I was born and raised, grew up here, been here all my life. So I think growing up as a child, you don't recognize how many people care until you get involved, and not too many families have the ability to know what's out there, but also to have those resources for themselves and for their children. So to see everyone here and what you guys are providing is very inspiring. So I am the Assistant Executive Director for Coatesville Kids to College, and our program provides a reduced cost preschool for families here from Monday through Thursday, as well as an after school program that runs typically Monday through Thursday, but this past school year, due to budget cuts, we had to shorten our weekly days, so now we're Monday through Wednesday. They come in and they receive an hour of tutoring support in the after school program, and then they have an hour of enrichment, and that changes depending on the day. So we definitely emphasize the importance of partnerships. We recently started a partnership for food disparities with Believe and Achieve Food Pantry. They come and they drop off a whole room full of food, and the parents and the students get to go in and basically shop based on what they need, and it's a free resource that they don't have to pay for. So that's been a great asset for our families so far. We partner with the Chester County Food Bank to provide nutritional and education. For our elementary school students, we have food gardens that's right next to the community garden that's across the street from Rite Aid that the students go to every week. And so, yeah, our mission is to provide academic, emotional, and spiritual empowerment to children and youth and families in the city of Coatesville. What we're hoping is that we are able to provide all the necessary resources for children and their families to have access so that they can continue to stay on paths to success, but also that they're provided with all the resources that they need from preschool until the time they're ready to graduate and go to college. And what we've also noticed that Jordan mentioned earlier was the fact that you can't just provide tutoring support in an after-school program just to the students. We have to find ways to reach the families outside of those means, which is why we are partnering with so many different organizations to provide those resources and enrichment, such as the food pantry. We partner with other churches that provide holiday donations, whether it's toys, gifts, clothes, items such as that. And so, yeah, so our pipeline is designed to provide the preschool, elementary, middle school, and high school support so that students stay on paths to success. So in our preschool, it's a full day Montessori style preschool. They have hands-on learning. They are given centers and spaces in their classroom. We have 3 full operating classrooms, a 3-year-old and 2 that are mixed with 4- and 5-year-olds. Our elementary group that we had in previous years usually consists of kindergarten through 5th grade. And as of 2022, I think, we had to not have a space for kindergarten groups because the demand was so high. And so for the past 2 years, we've been operating with just 1st through 5th graders, which is where this grant came in to help us to be able to provide that. And we were able to utilize that to service a kindergarten group because there is a need. And a lot of our families have students who are in different age groups. We have plenty of families who have kids who are in our middle school program, our high school program, our elementary program, and our preschool. And so now having the kindergarten group allows for all the students that are in that family to be able to have access to after-school enrichment support. So part of our program, we have a senior here, and I'm going to start doing something called the Faces of Our Pipeline because it will help to demonstrate the impact that we're making in the lives of the students that we serve. Marissa has been with our program, like many students, since she was in kindergarten, and now she's a senior. She's going to be graduating this year. And she's been hired as a student to support the Sow for Hope program. So she comes in every single week with another student who basically helps their instructor set up for our Sow for Hope class for our middle school students, creates the products and inventory for franchise building. They help to support the marketing strategies, and they support mentoring, support for the younger students that come in that are also learning how to do the things that they've been learning. So I quoted her, and she says, "I started as a kindergarten student in the after-school program, and now I'm 16 years old, a senior, and I'm helping younger students. I'm in my 2nd year of employment at Sow for Hope, and my favorite thing is spending time with Miss Sherry and Anaya." Anaya is the other student who's also part of this program. Marissa had an opportunity to, during COVID and then after COVID, we were trying to find ways to create opportunities for the middle schooler students and the older students to tutor or volunteer and get more involved with our after-school programming. And she wanted to be involved more with CKC, but so she was working and tutoring with the younger kids, and she realized she did not like working with kids at all. So she made that very apparent, but because of this, we have an opportunity for her. Well, now she's still sort of mentoring in a way, but she doesn't have direct on-site interactions with the younger kids. And it makes her feel like she's, getting older. It gives her an opportunity to develop her social skills, her networking skills, her job readiness, and it's also getting her prepared for life after high school. This is just a picture of our program staff. So we have 7 staff in our preschool, and we have 4 staff in our after-school program. And in our after-school program, because we have a kindergarten group now, We should have another staff, but that's one of the challenges that I'll talk about that we're facing is just hiring, people who want to come in. And our program for after school is only 2 hours. So, it's not that many hours. So it's really difficult to find someone who's willing to come in 2 days a week consistently. And we've also been struggling with volunteers. We haven't had as many volunteers that we've had in previous years as well. So far, the key learnings that we found when we launched our kindergarten group, we had a goal of 8, and right now we have 6, so that's great. Our maximum capacity for all of our groups is 10 students each. We partner with Olivet United Methodist Church, so we have access to some of the spaces that we pay rent for every month. And so our space is limited, which makes it so that we're not a drop-in center. We do require enrollments for our students. We were able to expand our 1st through 5th grade group. This recruiting for kindergarten allowed us to also recruit for our other students. Unfortunately, with our program, sometimes we have students who enroll in the beginning of the school year, and then by the time it gets to after December, they drop out. And I feel like part of that this year was just the new presidency. There's been a lot of just hesitation to stay enrolled or to give information or to participate in programs with some families not feeling comfortable with the new climate, unfortunately. So our numbers did go down, but we were able to pull them back up, and now our numbers are at 26 for our after-school program, which is great. The student achievement that we've been able to accomplish with this is that all students are receiving or reaching proficiency or above. There are some students who are still struggling with certain subjects, like we have a student who takes German, and we don't know German. We don't have anyone who knows German. So that's been kind of like a difficult thing for us to try to figure out with the tutoring aspect. But the majority of our students have received honor roll and distinguished honor roll the past several semesters, which has been a great feat for us as well. Despite us struggling with having an educational specialist right now, I've been kind of having to support that a little bit more this past school year. So the timeline of our programs was much slower than what we anticipated because of the overarching program needs and challenges that we faced with hiring staff, finding staff, things of that nature. Our expectations should have been made a little bit more realistic. And we definitely know we're going to have to increase our staffing hours. It's just been really tough with budget cuts right now. Like I said, we reduced our program days from 4 days to 3 days a week. So we've had to make a lot of different concessions. Our partnerships have been very accommodating. I think right now in this climate, when you find people who want to help, that you stick with them and you continue to find ways for them to share their passions with our kids and also be able to deliver the services that they care about. So being able to have our partnerships be able to flex in terms of with our kindergarten group, we haven't necessarily pulled them away to be their own group. They've kind of been included with the 1st through 2nd grade group. So the numbers are a lot larger, which means the class size is larger. It's a lot to manage. More supervision is needed for that group just because we don't have the staffing right now. But the community awareness initiative has been great for us as well in terms of a key learning point or accomplishment, just because it's forced us to be more consistent at showing what resources that we have, what are our needs for our programs, and also that we simply exist. And this is just a picture of some of our programs, our preschool and our after school.
Okay. So some of the challenges that we faced, which I think Aja already alluded to a few of these. And just for clarity, if it wasn't stated clearly, so thank you. So students that enter our program, whether they come in preschool or then if they come in 2nd grade in the after school program, these students are with us 3 days a week from preschool through graduation unless they drop out. So it's an enrollment program all the way through elementary, middle, high school, where students are staying with us in this pipeline of programs. So we're working with some of the most, not the most, but students that have significant academic, social, emotional challenges and need that robust sense of support that's day in and day out, year after year, alongside their families. So some of the challenges, a lot of realignment, staff development pieces put into place, and me stepping back in to help with this. So finding full and well-qualified staff, because again, as consistent as these students are, we want to provide that same level of staffing consistency for them so that they're familiar with the faces, they know their staff well, the staff know these students well. So as Aja alluded to, just staffing challenges with a few staff, and I'm not going to get into more detail with that, where we've actually been able to turn that into development plans and working with a couple staff that really have a heart for the program but really need some development themselves. So continue to navigate transitions of CKC. Oh, I just said that. Budget constraints. You know, if you've been in the nonprofit world long enough, you know that a founding director, when they step out, a lot of the donor support gets uneasy, anxiety in the water, if you will. And so we've been navigating that transition over this past year of just reestablishing strategies for funding in light of that, and reestablishing even a advisory board for CKC that helps with that. So the kindergarten student group, as Aja said, was our gap in the pipeline that she's already shared about. The great thing is we have been able to relaunch that, and we're excited to stabilize that and see that grow through the summer and into the fall. Volunteers also, similar to some donor base, took a hit in the transition over the past year, so we need to developing a strategy to increase our volunteer base again. We have really just fantastic staff, other than the few I've alluded to. But in addition to those staffs, we need that either weekly or bi-weekly volunteer base of people that are coming in. We do have some. We have great partnerships, but we need to increase our volunteers through the summer and into the fall. And then we've always had, as a kind of academically rigorous program, we've always had an educational specialist that works alongside of our, you saw kind of our after-school staff, to kind of coach the staff and to create individualized educational plans, really not IEPs, but educational IEPs, if you will, for each student. And so every student, this academic specialist would create a plan for that student academically, in which the program manager would work with the students and volunteers would work with the students. So we haven't had a strong academic specialist in place for a while as well. And so as Aja said, with her background, she's been filling that in and doing that work, but we're eager to find somebody that has the capacity to really manage our programs well, and after-school program, and with that academic background alongside of that. So we're eager to fill that role.
So this is a picture of our kindergarten group. A couple of their first weeks into program, they were doing science. I was filling in because we're short-staffed, but they were learning about condensation, evaporation, and how the water cycle takes place in other areas of our lives, and what better way to do that than with popcorn. So they got to watch the popcorn be made and did some activities, played some games. And then in the bottom corner is our amazing longtime art instructor. She's been with us since CKC started programs over 11 years ago, and does an amazing job working with the students of all ages. But this is our elementary group right here. And she comes in every single week and does an art program for both of our elementary groups. So what's next for us is kindergarten students hopefully to engage in their own enrichment schedule of science, art, gym, reading, and Bible studies with a program manager. Like I said, because we're short-staffed, we have to combine some of the groups, so they don't necessarily have their own program right now, but our partners and instructors have been very flexible with including them. We are wanting to create some type of evaluation to seek out what their benchmarks are to help determine how to better support them in this upcoming school year. We will also continue developing our staff to efficiently support our programs and meet our enrollment goals for all student groups throughout the summer, and also to prepare for the fall, and to continue seeking additional funding to sustain all of our programs, expand them, and increase our hours for staff so that our programs have the attention and the supervision that our students and our families deserve. So this is just a parent testimony from our preschool. The preschool before care was a huge help. The convenience of being able to drop Elena off before we allowed Jen to start work on time and not have to worry. The slower time in the morning was great for her. She was able to get acclimated to the people in program and made some friends in the process. And this was from last school year, so this student is actually in kindergarten this year. And then this is Anaya. She's also another student. She is part of the Soap for Hope. She was hired to be an assistant along with Marissa. She says, I think people should know that this program provides love and a safe space to grow into someone you can be proud of. And that's very moving for me because her family experienced a huge loss, and now their siblings, they are being supported by multiple family members, so they don't necessarily live together. But when they come to CKC, all of them are there. She has a younger sibling in preschool, so he gets access to a great learning environment. And she has her cousin and her 2 other siblings who are also part of our program. One's in middle school and the other is in elementary. And so being able to have a consistent space every day where they can all meet up and be together and be supported and have those resources is very imperative and crucial for them as they're navigating still the loss that they experienced last school year and not being able to continue to grow and develop together outside of school or, outside of home. This is the space for them to be able to do that. And then this is just some pictures of our summer camp. But that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you all so much.